Technology connects you, but you've never felt more disconnected. Caught up in your head and in your past, weighed down by worry, frustration, fear, disappointment. You do what you can just to get by. But what if there was another way? Is It Time to Love is a video series dedicated to helping you reconnect with your heart and live free of old beliefs, pain, ego, and judgment. Journey with beloved journalist Scottie G. Hines and spiritual teacher and Akashic Records consultant Lisa Wetzel as they help you uncover a path back to your true self. A path back to love.
You ready?
I am.
Okay, we're rolling. What is the truth of love?
Love is the consciousness of all. Gaining the understanding that the universal consciousness and the presence of our existence within each and every one of you creates the understanding of love. The love that we give you and what resides within each and every one of you is the purest essence of love. It is the love that confines consciousness, the ability to love one another freely without fears or bias. When you begin to gain the understanding that this truth lies within you, you have the ability to shift the mind's consciousness into a place of truth and understanding of the purest essence of this gift. When you begin to gain the understanding that the gift has been given to you, what will you do with it? Do you choose to live in that purest essence, or do you choose to live in the fear of your mind? This is what we want you to understand.
So we're love.
We are love.
We are it.
We are it.
But there's no reason to go out and search for love because we're it.
And this is where the misunderstanding is that we have a tendency to look at others for love and validation. If I can find somebody that loves me, then it makes me worthy.
Yes.
If I can't find anybody that loves me, then I'm worthless. That's the mind.
Yes.
That's what's been created to give us that understanding that I'm only worthy if I live this specific life. And what the truth is, what we want you to understand is that truth that...
So is that where... But then, we talk about greed, we talk about control. Underneath all of that, though, right, is the yearning for acceptance, the yearning to be loved.
And so where do you think that comes from?
From the mind.
It's not the truth of who you are.
No.
The truth of who you are all resides within here. It's this space.
Which is the same as love, which is the same as soul.
It is love.
It's
all one.
It's all.
Love is.
And that's the only truth. That's the only truth.
It is the truth. It's the truth of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And they're laughing and saying, people want to make it so complicated. It's not that complicated. It's not that complicated. But what the human also needs to understand is that they have created their own validation by the love of others. This isn't what makes you whole or complete. What makes you whole or complete is the understanding of who you are as an individual. And then the individual that complements you will become your presence. And when you begin to gain the understanding that you are separate, that is two separate beings. It's the separateness of one another that combines as a whole one. It is not the individual that conforms or controls one another that creates that unity.
So now we're talking about, well, it can be any relationship,
Absolutely.
right? It doesn't have to be like a intimate, like love
It
relationship.
can be a friendship.
It can be a friendship.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And there's plenty of friendships that are governed by one another's belief system or control.
Yeah.
And so again, it's not a balanced relationship. It's conforming to a belief system and not standing in the truth. And being respectful and residing in the place of truest love is the mission for one another, to have that full respect and understanding of non-judgment. And when they're talking about respect, they're talking about respecting non-judgment, not respecting the individual. But there's a point that I feel gratitude for non-judgment. I feel grateful that I can look at an individual and find their heart and not put blame on them or a belief system on them that makes them at fault or makes them worthy. So what we as humans all need to begin to recognize is that the truth of your existence is to love. It's to love uncontrollably, without any blockages, without any fear, without anything that we've created. It is truly just to stand in this light that is
like the Care Bears.
Yeah.
I just got the Care Bear stare.
I like it.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, with the rainbows
Yes.
or whatever.
Yes.
It's that pure, full, open heart to live uninhibited.
That's the word. Yes.
Yeah, uninhibited by the love that's been created within you. When you truly begin to understand what that love is, then you can project that upon all that is in your presence. And meaning project it means that when you can truly understand that full openness, there is a place of unconditional vibrational love that resides within you, that radiates from you. And when you can get to that place and it just shines out of you, then it automatically comes to you. And you can choose to accept it if you wish to. But if you feel that and you wish to absorb that, then it's transformative for you. And it's an exchange of the purest essence of love. And what is a better gift or a greater gift than giving that purest essence of love to the universe, to anything that surrounds you, whether it's the ground, the earth, the plants, the animals. That pure essence is what's vibratory that will shift the consciousness of the universe and raise the vibration to that point of love.
Well, and I just started thinking about like that sort of love that you're talking about emanating from us. I mean, I'm feeling like in this moment, I'm feeling that from the plants. You know, I'm feeling that from the animals, like your pet.
And why do you think that? Because they don't have the brains to block it.
Yeah.
There's nothing. They're just in their purest form.
That's right.
And the purest essence of who they are. And we know this, especially people that are sensitive to vibrations.
Yeah.
I mean, you can walk up to the plant and you feel the vibe.
Yes.
That's coming off the rocks, like we were talking about earlier. They don't have anything blocking that vibration. It's just the purest essence of who they are. If we as humans could
So the only thing
recognize-
blocking that vibration from emanating from us or being able to receive that from the rocks or the plants is our mind.
Because we're too busy analyzing. We're not letting it just be. And so if we could create the understanding that we can allow our minds to be set free and that it's safe to just be in that purest essence of love, then we would affect everything that is around us, everything and everyone.
And the more of us that come online, that's where the true change,
Absolutely.
the true shift happens.
Yeah, because it's contagious.
Yeah.
And it spreads. When you as humans begin to ask how you can change the world, they're laughing and saying, it's not as simple as just feeding the hungry, clothing the poor. When you begin to recognize that these are just actions, that it's not the truth of your existence, then you'll begin to recognize how important it is to open up your heart to the true and pure unconditional love that resides within you.
So when we're not able to open up our hearts and instead we're choosing judgment, let's say, then that's just continuing to perpetuate that same not being able to access and live in your truth.
Absolutely. And because it's the mind that's creating the scenario. It's the mind that's creating the behavior and the belief system. You can't live in the truest and the purest essence if there's some form of judgment that's in there. Yeah. So when you begin to recognize that judgment is a belief system that's been placed on you to categorize one another, you begin to recognize what we're saying. Okay? So a belief system is something that we've been put in this box to believe a certain way. You're supposed to dress a certain way. You're supposed to look a certain way. You know, if you're overweight, you're underweight, you wear glasses, you don't wear glasses. Right or wrong. You know, you're not good enough if you don't.
So again, it goes back to what we've learned.
Those are all
taught.
belief systems, yeah. And so this is what they're referring to.
Got it. Why is the meaning of love so important to understand?
This is what they're saying. They're taking a deep sigh at the moment.
Is it because we've already covered it and they don't have to repeat themselves?
No, they're frustrated. They're frustrated with humans not understanding.
Okay.
Humans taking hate and anger over love and peace. And they're saying this wears out our soul. Our soul has been affected by this belief system as well.
They're over it.
They're saying, when are you going to learn that there's no good that will come from this? So when you begin to recognize,
and when you say this, you're talking about judgment,
hate, anger,
Okay.
When you begin to recognize that the truest nature of your being is to love unconditionally, you'll begin to recognize how easy your life is and how it can flow congruently with all that is. Whatever you have asked for can become relevant in your life in a way that is meaningful and bountiful in your life when you choose love over hate and anger. The biggest misbelief of the human nature is that they are meant to control or have a specific outcome of their life that someone else has created. This is simply not true. What we want you to understand is that the heart is relevant in all aspects of one's life. When a human being can truly understand that the heart is in control and it allows peace and freedom, you'll begin to understand how important love is. Love is a simple word that humans only apply to one another. What they don't recognize is that love is all-encompassing of all that is. When a human begins to recognize that they can love unconditionally all things and all ones, meaning all humans, and all that is within the universe, they'll begin to gain an understanding of how simplistic life can be and how understanding it is to have gratitude when one soul meets another soul who is truly a brother or a sister. When you begin to recognize that you look at another human being with the connection of that soul, you'll begin to recognize how the love wells up inside of you and fills you and completes you. This is the love that we talk about. This is the love that is of the true existence. When one can truly find the fundamental values and beliefs that we are all connected and that my soul is your soul and yours is mine, then you'll begin to gain the understanding that you are all in this as one together.
And can you have them explain? We hear it all the time. Oneness, your soul is my soul. What does that mean? You know what I mean? Like, how do we, in layman terms, like, how do we truly, like, wrap our minds around that?
I have an answer for you. What that means is that there's particles of every being that is living upon this earth has a particle of one other's soul. So it's almost like a soul is not a solid. It's built with, it's like cells.
Yes.
And so there's billions of these little cells that are put together to form this creature that we call a soul. So particles of that soul can be removed and shifted and changed. So when we talk about a soul being whole, it's comprised of other cells, other particles of other souls that have combined as one. They're laughing and saying, you've heard of a soul sister, a soul flame. A soul connection.
Yes.
It's because those particles of other souls are embedded within you. And when you begin to recognize that all souls that are existing upon the earth are related to one another, you'll begin to recognize how you are all soul sisters.
Okay. We're soul brothers.
Yeah.
We're soul sisters.
Yeah, I don't know why they're saying sisters.
It's all the same.
Yeah, it's family.
Soul family.
Soul family. The particle of your soul is in mine. I have your particle. You have my particle.
Okay.
Therefore, we are linked together.
Okay.
And this goes through everything that's living, everything that is inconsistent with anything that has a soul, which is all life.
These plants.
All life, absolutely.
So their particles
We are all
connected with our particles.
Yes, and this is what makes you all one. You have different aspects of your soul that create your personality and your life experience. There is, and like I see, like each soul has like a mind, something that is in control of it, and something that is created to have a specific life experience, but it is incongruent with the whole fluid body. So it's the whole fluid body, but there's a mind or a center of that soul that creates the experiences that it needs to grow. So it has its own life.
Okay.
But it's still connected. We have particles that are all
So let's say the same soul is occupying your body and my body, for example. Okay. Do you have your own mind and I have my own mind, even though we're the same soul, just different expressions of the same soul? Let's say my soulmate in this life, or a series of soulmates, they're part of the same soul, whatever that means.
Yeah.
Do they have their own mind, or is it the same mind?
It's a different mind.
Different mind.
Okay, so when you talk about it's a soul split.
Yeah.
So what happens is you have the basic soul.
Okay.
So it's easy to describe it as being round. So what happens with a twin flame or that twin soul is that you have that whole soul, and then it divides. It's like a cell divides.
Okay.
So then it becomes separate. They're saying it's just like twins.
Yeah.
So it's from the same cell, but it divided and made two. Just like a twin. This twin has its own mind, and this one has its own mind. They both have their own journeys.
Okay.
So they're connected just like a twin. You know, like how twins understand each other's feelings, and they're connected in that way.
Yeah.
Same thing. It's a cellular divide within the whole.
Okay.
Good
Okay,
question.
good. Yeah,
that's a good question.
What is the purposes of these blockages that keep us, the illusion of keeping us separate from ourselves?
There is no purpose.
Oh.
It was created by man. Man created these beliefs.
Yeah, but there's got to be a purpose.
Okay. They're saying, no, there's no purpose. There's no purpose. It's more harmful than it is good. It was never created or meant to be.
But it's brought me here with you right now.
It's life experiences. It's not necessarily belief systems. So recognize that there's a universal plan that resides within each and every one of you. Again, going back to the soul connection. You need to recognize that the soul goes kicking and screaming to take you down the path that you're meant to take. When you begin to recognize that belief systems have blocked you from finding the truest essence and the purity of who you are, this is what we're discussing. It's not necessarily going down the path that you're meant to take. It's going down the path with the openness and the purity that you're existed to be in.
Okay.
Okay. So the soul is always congruent with taking you down your path. So this is a different subject, okay, than what we're talking about, love. So what you're talking about is that whatever stories that you've told yourself, whatever experiences that you've had, all of these things. So a lot of times those traumas and stuff that have created belief systems were meant to happen in order to get you to where you're supposed to go. Your soul is constantly guiding you to get you down your path. But what the human needs to do at this time is to break the barriers between the mind's consciousness and the heart's consciousness. When you begin to recognize that you can then travel down your path with less resistance and begin to gain the flow, and again, the river, gain the flow to float freely to your destination, this is the desire.
But don't I have to have awareness of the other, of the contrast, in order to know what I do want, or no?
No. They're saying, again, it's not that difficult. It's not that difficult.
But how else is my soul going to evolve? Like, how else am I going to learn these lessons?
They're laughing and saying it's up to each individual. I mean, it's okay. So your specific situation is meant for you specifically.
Right.
My situation is different than yours. And so when they're
But
saying
aren't
it's
the blockages necessary in order for like the disease, the accidents, the thing that's going to stop us in our tracks, which is.
But recognize that what you're talking about isn't necessarily the blockages; it's the seeds.
Okay, that's the seeds, but then the blockages are a symptom of the seeds, correct? Or of the reaction.
But also, the blockages are conditioned. They're a conditioned response.
Okay.
So recognize that there's a difference in belief systems We're talking about belief systems and breaking down those barriers. We're not talking about specific events that happen in your life.
But I can see where I've formed beliefs about life and about other people based
on your experiences and what you've been through. And again, a lot of that has to do with the seeds. Okay, so, but also begin to recognize that those blockages have also caused more chaos in your life.
That's true.
You've come to the conclusion, but you've had to relive the situation so many times to get to the conclusion that you could have learned the same lesson the first time.
Okay.
But a lot of times that those situations and the occurrences that have been conditioned in your mind are to create that outcome. Okay. So recognize that every individual is different in their own path and the desire that is needed in order to get there. Your situation is very specific, and they're laughing and saying, but you've been a stubborn one as well. So how many times have you felt like...
But most people are stubborn.
Well, this is the point. This is what they're saying. They're laughing and saying all humans are stubborn. Yeah. And this is where the problem is. Remember, we go back to the beginning of this whole conversation, 2 chapters ago, and saying that humans are difficult because of our mind. Yeah. And the mind creates a story. And
I feel like that's a defect. I feel like the creator, I'm like...
Well, and it may be. I mean, but there's purposes for the mind. I mean, you have to have a mind. Yeah. You have to think. You've got to know things.
Just like the ego and the mind, they're not bad.
But you have to be able to discern when it's needed and when it's not. Yeah. You have to have a mind when you're driving down the road. You have to think. You've got to stop at stoplights. There's purposes and meanings for the existence of our brain. Right. But we have to recognize when it's detrimental and then when it's necessary. Okay. And so going back to what we were saying is that we humans, we may know we're being guided down a path to take a certain direction, but because of the fear in our mind or because of past experiences, we've created a belief. Even if we know that we're supposed to go a certain direction, our mind is like, no, don't do that. You need to go this way because this is what happened last time. And so the mind's going to take you this direction. So what the point is being able to recognize when your mind is taking you a direction and there's something inside of you that's saying, don't go that way, go this way. But you're not trusting this. You're staying in your head to go in a different direction that your mind is determining, not the truth of where your guidance is taking you. Okay.
What is the truth? What is the truth of who you have been created to be in the world?
You have been created. All of you have been created to exist upon this earth in a place of harmony, to reside in the truest, purest essence of love. And this is what we truly created. We wanted you to all live upon this earth in a place of peace, not chaos. When you begin to understand that you're interdependent on one another, you'll begin to recognize how we created you to be, the truth of your existence. What has been twisted and turned around to create the turmoil, the hatred, and the anger is of the human mind that was created in greed and envy. When you begin to recognize that as you move forward with the understanding that you are all coherent beings, you'll begin to recognize how you're meant to work together and love one another, not hate.
Love is the answer.
Love is always the answer.
And it always goes back to the mind. Finding that that's it. There's something's resonating, something's shifting for me right now where it's like duh.
Yeah.
It's so simple.
It's so simple. It is so simple. But we make it so complicated.
We do make it so complicated. For those of us who aren't living in the purest essence of love, what does that feel like? Like what's that experience?
And so what I'm feeling is that there's no more constrictions around your heart. There's no more tightness. There's no more envy. There's no more prejudice. There's no more greed. There's only understanding. Everything in the heart space opens up to consume all in that gratefulness, gratitude, and compassion. And when you begin to recognize that you have those moments of truth and purity, you'll begin to recognize how greed and envy have closed the space of love off. Again, it's that curtain that's dropping down that's caused the separateness. And that's the only way that I can explain it.
So, yeah, I mean, I've experienced it, right? Like during plant medicine ceremonies, even without plant medicine, like in
We've
different,
had those moments.
we've had those moments together.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to, like, how do you find the words? How do you explain the unexplainable? I don't.
And it's one of those things, again, it's a knowing.
Yeah.
You just know it. You can feel it. It's a shift in your body. It's an understanding of this overwhelming place of gratitude.
Yeah.
You know, and we use love in so many different forms, and we have a tendency as humans to place love. I love my animal. I love my child. I love my spouse. I love my friends. But it's so much greater than that. It's the understanding of loving the air you breathe.
Yeah.
Loving the surroundings, just loving existence. And when you...
And the way I can explain it it's, I feel connected to everything.
And it comes from here, and it's like you can just feel this beautiful energy that comes out and around you.
Yeah.
And once you feel that, it's addictive.
And in that moment, my experience, it's almost too much.
It's bliss.
Yeah.
It's the truest form of bliss. And what we want you to understand, that this is what we're striving for. We are allowing you as individuals to recognize what this feeling is and who you can become, so that you can begin to alter your behavior and to gain the truth of this purest existence. Once you gain the understanding and you can recognize that you can truly feel and live this way, you'll begin to change all that is. It's a mission. You know, this is what we're shifting into.
And once the shift happens, then it seeps into every area of our lives.
Does.
Like, there's nothing for us to have to go out and make happen.
And when you said that, what the first words that came to me, it's going to be hard to reverse.
Yeah.
Once you get to that point, you're not going to be able to go back.
Yeah.
And I've already found that.
Yeah.
I found that it's very hard for me to be in a lower frequency. A person that is of that lower vibration, that heavy, dense, it's almost like I can walk into a room and it's like, oh no, I gotta go. I can't even be here. And that's what's gonna start shifting and taking us in different directions. That when we find that we get to this place of understanding what really love consists of, it's not just loving another item or another animal or another human being. It's that true, pure essence of love that resides within us.
And when you're connected, when you're in that purest love within us, judgment can't exist.
Absolutely.
Hatred can't exist.
It can't.
Hatred
It cannot.
doesn't.
No.
No hatred.
No, because you see everything around you with different eyes. You see that connectedness, that you are me and I'm you. And that I am the stars, I am the sky, I am the knowledge and the wisdom of everything that is. It's a knowing. So how can I judge you for being you? When I understand that your soul picked you and the life that you are living, it was meant for your soul to be within you. It was meant for you to be who you are in order for that soul to gain the knowledge and the wisdom to move on. My soul picked me. My soul picked my parents. My soul picked my exact life because I am meant to be who I am. I am meant to be this individual. And that soul said, I have to live that life. I have to live the existence that human body has been created to be in. When you can understand that I am the child that I was meant to be, my parents are who they were meant to be, my circumstances are who and what they were meant to be for my soul's growth. It's not what my mind is perceiving or creating or believing. It is exactly how it is supposed to be, and I want to honor that. So thank you, universe. Thank you to my soul for guiding me through this path and the journey that I'm meant to take. I am meant to be who I am. You are meant to be who you are. So I honor you. I honor the existence of your soul. Once again, namaste. My soul recognizes you. I honor you. There's something to that.
Yes.
You know, the Buddha state.
Yeah.
You know, thank you for understanding that we are all connected and that you can let go of all these beliefs that limit you and confine you.
So it's about forgetting so then we can remember forgetting so then we can remember again. That's where I get lost. Where it's like, okay, I'm clearing the space. I'm letting go in areas I wasn't letting go of, you know, the old story. But then it's like, okay, now it takes a little bit of action, a little bit of movement. And that can be in the stillness, of course, action, the doing in stillness. But that's where I seem to get hung up is, okay, what do I want to put in its place?
And that's the problem, is that it's almost like a bucket of water. And you feel like you have to have a full bucket, but you can't carry that full bucket. So at some point you've got to start dumping out the water. But I'm afraid if I dump out the water, I'm not going to have enough. Even though I can't carry this, if I dumped out enough water so that I could carry it, oh my gosh, what am I going to do if I don't have this water? It's the recognizing that you have to let go because your bucket is overloaded.
So where does scarcity mindset come in?
The scarcity is the human creation of not having enough. And where the falsity in the belief
But
system...
not having enough
everything,
love, not having enough money.
Food, water, existence, everything. Everything. It's a belief system. And where that belief system was created by another human being that put that belief system on you.
Which is it's the same example you give every time. It's the same process for everything.
Letting go. So, but what the hardest part is for humans is, again, going back to the bucket, is that if I let go of a belief system and I've lived this way for so long, what am I going to do without it?
Yes.
And then when you let it go, then I call it, then the teaching really begins, because then you have to figure out how to exist without it. And that's where the fear comes in of the old habit. So as a situation comes up that you thought that, okay, well, I let this belief system go and I'm going to work through this belief system. But then you get put in the situation that you have an old habit of responding to. And the only way you know how to respond to that is that old way. The first thing that you do is immediately go back to that old way. So where the test is that what would happen if I didn't go back to the old way? What if I stuck my foot out of the box and allowed myself to see what the result would be if I would just be?
Okay.
And not pull that old trash back into the house.
And that's how we level up.
And that's how you level up.
Okay.
But it's a process.
Yeah.
But you have to recognize what's happening in order to allow it to happen.
That's where it starts, the awareness.
Yeah, the
recognition
awareness.
of it. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Living in love, two different things. Same thing. Because I know when I'm out of love, I'm not living.
Yeah.
I'm not able to live, and I'm in that scarcity.
You're living in absence.
Yeah.
Yeah, absence of your truest knowledge. So when you begin to recognize that there is breathing upon the earth and walking in the existence of your footsteps, and then you'll recognize the shallowness and the ill will that follows those footsteps. When you recognize that you can get to the core and the truth and the purity of your existence, and you're recognizing that truest, purest love, there is never a false footstep.
Okay.
I like that.
That really resonates for me.
Yeah. So when you're living, like right now we're living.
Yeah.
We're breathing, we're existing on this earth, we're making decisions from our mind.
But when you say living,
we're living. But when you're complete and you're whole, then you are in connectedness with everything that is. And it's a completely different
from living?
existence. It's a different existence.
Oh, we're saying that's different from living.
Yeah, because we as humans have put the title of living as anything that's just awake and breathing.
Oh, okay.
It's what's walking on the earth.
Okay.
We're living.
Got it.
In that mindset of what we've created. But the truth of our existence is really living when you recognize who you truly are. That's living in the existence of purity.
Okay.
Okay, so there's the human living, and then there's this the recognition of our existence living. You know, when we can get to the commonness of the mind and allow all individuals to see who they truly are, then the existence and the peace that is meant to reside within will prevail. And we'll end it there.
So there's nothing to do.
So easy.
There's nothing for us to have to do.
Let go.